Again, speaking controls your thinking. Every time you speak, neural pathways are formed. The words we speak matter. They carry power. It shapes how you act. If you're always complaining, you're attracting more complaining. Just be aware of that. Hey, everybody, welcome to an episode of Keeping It Real Estate. My name is Dan Brisse. I was at an event this past weekend and I came across some content that really moved the needle for me as far as perspective on creating results in a new reality with some areas of my life. And I thought that if it was beneficial to me, it's very likely beneficial to you as well. So I wanted to hop on here quick and get to the chase, get to the point on the 4 V's, which I would call a cheat code to life. So the 4 V's to change your identity. When we're looking to create a new way of being, new habits, what we found in what the data shares is once your identity shifts, that's the point in time when you're actually going to behave in a way that creates the results you're looking to create. So when I look back at successes I've had in my life, I can attribute these 4 V's to either happening consciously or unconsciously. And most of the time it was unconscious because I didn't ever hear about these 4 V's. So starting off with the first one is visualize. I'm going to relate it back to my snowboarding career. I just want to talk about facts, things that have definitely worked, things that I can put in the stake in the sand and say, yes, this worked for me. No question about it. No area of confusion, no gray areas. So when I was younger, I would spend most of my time in high school visualizing snowboarding tricks, right? I didn't want to be in high school. I didn't want to learn about the mundane data facts that they were teaching us. A, I wasn't interested. B, I thought, what a waste of time for most of this stuff because I'm not going to need it. I'm not going to use it. And so I spent a lot of my time visualizing, watching snowboarding tricks in my mind's eye. I would be looking at magazines, I would watch videos, I would get ideas from these magazines and videos, and then I could sit there and visualize over and over and over again. And if you can see something clearly in your mind's eye, you're 10, 20, 50, 100 times more likely to bring it to reality in the real world. I think of the other piece that I learned later on was as I got into professional snowboarding and I came around other guys who were at my level or were professional athletes, they all were doing it. They were obsessed. And I would come back after, riding all day or shooting at an event, and we'd go straight into watching a snowboard video. And these guys would talk about how they would visualize and see these tricks in their mind's eye to learn them. Summertime would come around. We couldn't snowboard in Minnesota where I grew up. So you spent all summer watching videos and visualizing. And then when winter came back around, we would try these tricks that we had in our mind for months, and boom, first try, you'd land the trick. And it was like magic. And a lot of the times it was like, hey, how did you do that? You've never done that before. And most of the time the answer was like, I'm not really sure. I just knew I could do it. So if you visualize something, whatever your goal is, whatever outcome you're looking to create, and you can see a clear picture of what that looks like successfully, you're 100 times more likely to be able to do it. The next V was vocalize. Vocalize means to speak it. Your language is powerful. It physically rewires your brain. Speak as though it's done as well. It begins to reaffirm things in your subconscious mind. It shuts down negative thought when you speak. Was interesting. He gave us a little test. He said, count to 10 in your mind, and I'm going to ask you a question that you're going to know. So he's like, go ahead, start counting. And we all started counting quietly in our mind. And I got to about number 4 or 5. And then the question was, what's your name? And I said, Dan. And he's like, you can see how once you start to talk, you control your thinking. Super powerful. How often are we, or times where the day is where you're on down a negative thought pattern, and it's difficult at times to turn that around. Start speaking. Take control of your mind. And so the vocalize piece for us was, when you're into something, and now let's call it real estate. First of all, with going back to real estate, with visualizing, what was the end goal? Is there a mentor? Is there someone who I admire that built a company that, from the outside looked extremely successful? Sure. Can I see what that looks like from the outside? Sure. Can I see myself at the end goal? Sure. And then vocalizing it with snowboarding or real estate was just talking about it all the time because that's what I'm interested in. And getting around other people that are interested in it and having conversations about it and just continually to vocalize and get around people that are further along than you. Again, speaking controls your thinking. Every time you speak, neural pathways are formed. The words we speak matter. They carry power. It shapes how you act. If you're always complaining, you're attracting more complaining. Just be aware of that. It's something that I tuned into. And my wife and I have a little, contest back and forth. Hey, if someone's complaining, just call them out. Whoa, what are you doing? Well, is that going to help you get the result you want or create more of what you don't want? Number 3, vote. Vote in this sense means to take action. Massive action is critical. There's talk of, well, just sit around and think about what you want and it'll all happen. What I think the piece that's missing is when you sit around and think of what you really want and you're excited about it, it makes you want to take action. It creates massive action. I can say for sure when, I was in high school and I was sitting there in school thinking about snowboarding, I was eager to ride. And if I had summer where I would think about snowboarding tricks, by the time snowboarding came around and it was time to go ride, it was exhilaratingly exciting. It was a holy smokes, let's go every day, all day. And I think with, going back to real estate, you talk about it, you visualize it. And when you're talking about it, you might be talking about the end goal, creating passive income, acquiring depreciation, forcing appreciation, capital gains, taking care of your residents, taking care of your investors, and winning. So stack a crap load of votes or action, and, one or two won't change you. One thing I'll say with eating, like you're voting to be healthy. Let's say physical fitness is your thing and you stack a bunch of days of working out and eating really healthy, a lot of protein, a lot of grains, healthy fats. And then on Sunday, you decide you're going to have a little cake. Like, hey, Sunday, I'm going to splurge a little bit. If you got 90%, 95% of your days where you're eating really healthy, a little bit of cake on Sunday is not going to ruin you. So keep that in mind, that there can be some flexibility if you have a goal. And, the voting piece of, am I going to eat perfect every day? It doesn't have to be perfect every day. There can be some leniency, but just make sure the majority of your actions align with the outcome you're looking to create. And then the 4th V is vicinity. And vicinity simply means getting around other folks that are already there. Surround yourself with, healthy people. If you're looking to be healthy, you should hang out with healthy people. They talk about how if you're hanging out with 5 unhealthy people, you'll be the 6th healthy person. If you're hanging out with 5 broke people, you'll be the 6th broke person. And likewise for the other way, you hang out with 5 super fit people, you're going to be the 6th fit person. You're 5 wealthy people, you're going to be the 6th wealthy person. So this is incredibly important to keep in mind. And that's why attending masterminds, getting around high level folks and adding value to them in any way you can. And high level folks would mean people who have what you want. You can identify and see this person is living a life that I'd like to live or are doing things that I want to be doing on a day-to-day basis. So this is the cheat code that I heard and came across that I thought was valuable to you. And I wanted to bring that to you as fast as I possibly could. I'm in a hotel here in Nashville and wanted to get this recorded and sent out as soon as possible. Much love. Keep listening to Keeping It Real Estate. Let us know if there's anything that you guys want us to be talking more about, anything to specifically dive into on real estate. Give us a like, keep the comments coming, and we appreciate your support, and we'll talk soon.